Nicole, tell us who you are and what you do.
So I'm Nicole Morris. I am a trainer for U.S. Lacrosse. We teach other coaches how to do their job better, more effectively, hopefully, and to help with lacrosse being consistent across the country. So we want the kids in California to have the same officiating and coaching experiences. We want the game really to be the same throughout. So we're really looking for that consistency. I coach lacrosse here in Houston locally at the varsity level and do some goalie training, stuff like that.
Has knowing your own strengths helped? Have you looked at other people differently as a result of this?
Oh, absolutely. Gosh, I give them so much more grace, which just helps mankind in general. I mean, everybody I'm in contact with, they benefit from the fact that I've gone through this, because it truly does. The intangible things that just go against your grain, that just struggled to understand why somebody thinks that's okay. And it's silly, like laughing after a loss. I mean, in the grand scheme of the universe, is that big of a deal? No, but it goes against everything that I am. And I just have not been, it drives me insane. And I have to remove myself. Like, I don't even want to ride the bus home because I don't want to deal with the social part of, these kids are just having fun. But it goes against everything that I have. I'm like, to me, I associate that with not being serious. And to them, it's just either a stress reliever or it's just their coping mechanism. And it's not the end of the world to them.
No.
And so it has allowed me to truly give grace. Say, you know what, they're not doing that to personally affront me, or, it's not personal. It's just, and so I find that, just like my seriousness probably violates them. They're like, get over it, coach. It's not that big a deal. It's a game,
How awesome is that, what you just said, right? That they're violating your strengths. You're violating theirs perhaps too, right? You have a completely different lens of the world. I love that you mentioned that. And I think part of that, and we've spoke about this, is that you are wired differently than most female athletes. So talk a little bit about having some of those strengths that many women do not have, and then having to lead people that are very different from you, right?
Sure. So the two I think that you're speaking of is A, competition, and B is futuristic. Yeah. And that and I'm a goalie, which probably explains a lot to a lot of people. It's a very individual position within a team. Mm-hmm. And I am happy there because I don't have to I don't have to be relatable. Everybody puts me in my own bucket anyway. Oh, she's a goalie. So in a lot of ways that helped. And I think it was something that made my experience my own.
Yeah.
That I could not feel such an outsider. I just understood that my position was individual and was going to be outside of the fray. Completely happy there. I think the futuristic part is just constantly, what can we do? What can we be doing? What can we be doing? And not being satisfied with where we are. Mm-hmm. Really, no, I don't really care about the past except for my wins. The championships, the big games, you want to keep those, the successes, you have to remember those so that you remember why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And in those bad, dark times when you're not having the success, you can draw on that. But that's really all the past is good for me. I'm really about, oh my gosh, the sky's the limit. We can do this, we can do that. And how can we accommodate that?
Yeah.
Which is hard to rein in sometimes. So it's really been, and then it goes back to, okay, he's historic and I'm future. So that's two different, or context, I guess.
Your employee?
The opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And so getting him to move at my pace is near impossible. So don't try. Understand he needs more information than I do to get started. So asking better questions. Do you have enough information to do what we're talking about? Or is there something else that what else do you need? Do you have enough information? How can I help you get started so that he can get going?
And has that worked out better?
It has. We laugh, and he knows we've been through the Strength Finder. We talk about it every Wednesday. We have a staff meeting, so we're trying to really keep it in the forefront to help understand that we have different experiences, and we are just definitely made up differently. So making sure that his experience, obviously I want to keep him. He's a valuable employee, and we get along outside of work when we go to baseball games and things like that, just kind of to do some, hey, let's get to know each other kind of things. And we do get along. We have a lot to talk about when it comes to the job and how I'm driven and the things the details that I want. Yeah. If it's not important to him, it doesn't get done on the time frame that I want. So how do I help him understand that if it's important to me, it needs to be important to him?
Exactly. That's great. Right. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. Right. But rather than butting heads over it, now you can have a communication.
Right. The conversation is definitely, it's a, hey, we really want the same thing. So how are we going to make that happen?
Right.
Me being able to give up a little bit of the control and put it more in his court. Hey, here's what has to happen. We both want this. And so how about you give me a few ideas of which direction you think you're going to go? And then I can kind of, because if all 5 things have to get done in 2 weeks and there's not a priority on which ones have to get done first, then why does it have to be the ones that I would have done first? It doesn't. It could be the ones that he wants to get done first, and then he's happy and they're still making progress. So I'm learning to ask better questions and see where some things it doesn't have to be my way.
Yeah, those are great examples of how this can be helpful, and they're small. They're in the big scheme of things. What? Right.
They're tiny. In the grand scheme of things, it's,
but they make a difference.
They make a big difference
for both of you, so.
Even though we haven't done this strength finder with every kid, we are now looking at and really, okay, when we have conversations about the different players, well, perhaps she's just seeing something, in a different way, or so really having more conversations about, hey, what did you see, or what's your thought process, as opposed to fixing it. Good. Having that discussion with really more of a discussion instead of us, we're the coach, so we're telling you, but really letting them communicate their experience and what they're seeing, so that things can hopefully they feel more control and take more ownership of their role and their part in whatever happened.
Good. I think that's fabulous. And I think remembering that nobody's broken. They just may completely, like I always use the analogy of the dog in the room. Maybe they're hearing something nobody else is hearing.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, I like that.
Sound, but nobody heard it except the dog. Right. So helping people embrace the fact that they have things, or see things differently, or feel things differently, or do things differently.
If the goal is to be the best you in whatever role you're in, then why wouldn't you? Like, it's just it's fun effort, but every week, like I said, I get into it in a different way every week and discover something else and have a blinding flash of the obvious. Oh my gosh, why am I 44 and just figuring this out? Things like that. I'm like, I've been me for 44 years, and how come this is not coming out? But the confidence that I am prepared. I'm doing everything that I can do, that I know to do, or that's been put in front of me to be the best me. Still figuring out why, but it's a process, and everybody wants to be. And wherever you are, you have somebody that you're trying to emulate or be as close to as possible, because that's what you feel the standard should be, or whatever. And so hopefully in other parts of my life that I'm that for somebody. If I'm that in the coaching community in Houston, and programs are saying, hey, we culturally want to be like St. John's, and this is something that they've set up that we really want to emulate, then great. And if we can give them little tidbits of, here's how we did it. We're just basing everything on strengths, and, mistakes are okay. And how are you going to deal with the mistake? That's great that no one wants to make them, but we do. So do something positive with it. And there you go.
There you go. No, I like it.
But the more that we can understand how we operate, and how I prepare is different than how Joanna prepares, which is different how Monica prepares and how David prepares, we all prepare differently, and understanding that some people don't want to be late. And even though we're sharing a car, like, okay, I'm working with Nicole, which means we're going to be there at 8:15, even though it doesn't start till 9. It's just the way it's going to happen. So, but it's valuable because if you, either we need 2 cars, right? Or we just have to know that some of us prepare in the mornings and like to be there and be organized. And some people, it's okay. They just show up, and they are great at just showing up and they are on it. But some of us need a little more mental focus and to kind of get in the zone or do whatever. And just, I think that's where the strength finder is going to be. You know, I carry my little sheet of all the different trainers with me. I'm like, who am I working with? I mean, I have it right here. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm with Monica today. That means I have, she's positive and she's a relator. Okay, that's the green, because I don't have that human quality at all.
Right.
And so,
what a great partnership as a result, right?
Exactly.
Oh, I love that.
It really is just a journey, and you know, I think reassessing and continually, for me, I guess it's giving people grace to understand that they're not like me. And that's
beautiful. And I need to remember that, right? Because I have Maximizer up there as well. And you're like, what is excellent about that? Right? Nothing. Okay. And yet,
we're average.
Yeah. So that being able to give people some grace and some room and some and keeping, you know, zipping my mouth, I think those are great points, right? And if you think about the value that has both for them and for you, what's the point of getting all worked up? Right.
Exactly. I am a much happier person.
Good.
I think that I work with positivity is huge on my staff, on my coaching staff. There's like, of the 8, I think 6 people have positivity. Gag. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's just over the top sometimes. And, you know, why are we celebrating the fact that they picked up, they were average. They did what they were supposed to do. They didn't do anything above and beyond. They didn't fail. They did what we expected. So why are we celebrating? It's not.
There you
awesome. Go. And I'm like, okay, give them grace. It's just
give them grace. Progress, not perfection. Exactly. Yeah. So no, that's great. That's a great example. Thank you for sharing that. Well, listen, this has been fabulous. I look forward to sharing with this with other coach developers and part of a presentation down the road. So thank you for your time and your insight and your enthusiasm. And I always enjoy talking to you.
Well, thank you for the book and all your knowledge and sharing it, because it truly has been life-changing, and not in a small way. I mean, when you can enjoy life and other people better, you know, hey, life's easier.
I do like that the cuckoo clock is going off here.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't make it into the office this morning.
I think it's a symbol of who
cuckoo.
we are.
Oh, yeah. You know what you're saying? I'm cuckoo. Got it. Off my rocker.
We.
It's all good. It's all good.
All right, my friend. Well, thanks again. I appreciate your being part of this and all the talent you bring to the table. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right. Bye.